welcome to another episode of Chow With Lauers. Today we're making special crispy noodles.
On the face of it, this crispy noodle dish looks like something only a pro chef would attempt, but follow my instructions and I guarantee you'll be able to pull off something really spectacular. You're going to need about 200 grams dry weight of egg noodles. The fine ones are crispier. Firstly, pop your dry egg noodles into a pan of gently boiling water. You want to boil them for about 3 to 4 minutes so they're not quite cooked all the way through, because obviously we're going to finish by frying them. After about 3 or 4 minutes, remove the noodles from the pan and rinse in cold water under a running tap to stop the cooking process. After you've done that, set them aside so they can dry. Pak choy is so popular now that you can usually find it in really good supermarkets, and if you can't find it there, go to a Chinese or Asian supermarket. It's really easy to prepare. Wash and then slice the root off and then separate out the leaves. You need about 50 grams of mange tout or sugar snap peas for this recipe. Being that this is Chinese cuisine, of course we're going to use ginger. For this recipe we're going to use about 1 inch of ginger. First off, we slice off the skin because that does not taste very nice. After you've done that, slice the ginger into thin, even slices. Job done. Next, it's time to slice up our fried fish roll. This is possibly an ingredient that you've never come across before, but is readily available at your local Chinese or Asian supermarket. As the name implies, it's made out of fish, but it doesn't have a very strong fishy taste. It's quite subtle, but the extra different texture it brings to a dish is really, really nice. It's got a firm bite to it. So come on, give it a go. The crispy roast pork is definitely an optional extra for this recipe because it takes quite a lot of time and effort just to make this dish. However, I had some lying around in my fridge and I thought what better way to use it up than to put it on a recipe like the special crispy noodles, and believe me, it really works. I'll give you the recipe for the belly pork very soon. You can use whatever squid you like for this recipe. I'm using the body, but you can use the whole baby ones sometimes that you find in supermarkets, Asian supermarkets and Chinese supermarkets. To prepare the body of the squid, first of all you open it up by butterflying it and then you score the inside of the body with a very sharp knife in a crisscross pattern. This ensures that it'll cook nice and evenly. And then after this we're going to cut it into thin strips. Squid is often known for sometimes coming out very tough and rubbery, but I guarantee if you prepare it in the right way and you don't overcook it, it will come out really nice and tender and beautifully tasty. So onto the chicken breast. As with nearly everything else here, we're going to slice it very thinly and very evenly, so when it comes to the stir fry we can use high heat and high speed so that all the ingredients come to the perfect zenith all together. Onto the king prawns, guys. You don't have to do this. You can get the deshelled, deveined king prawns, frozen fresh or whatever. These days you can get really high quality king prawns from the supermarket, no problems. By now, your egg noodles should be cool and fairly dry, so pop them in a bowl and pour 2 tablespoons of cooking oil and give them a good stir. Now this is going to stop them from sticking to each other and burning in the pan when we start to make them crispy. Next, get your wok or pan onto the heat and get it smoking hot with no oil in it. Then turn down the heat and add about 2 tablespoons of cooking oil and give it a good swirl. Next, add your noodles into the wok and spread them out nice and evenly. Reduce your heat down to medium and then just let the noodles sit and sizzle and start to go crispy. Every now and then check the edges, turn up the edges to make sure that it's not burning, and then give the pan a little bit of a swirl so the oil gets distributed evenly around the noodles. So after about 2 minutes, get ready to give them the flip so you can make the other side crispy. And if you do it first time, maybe you can look as cool as me. Whilst not disturbing the noodles too much, just make sure they're still loose underneath. Keep prodding around, don't tear them up, but just make sure that they're not sticking to the bottom of your pan. Even on a non-stick, it can happen sometimes. Oops, I did it again. The other benefit of giving the noodles a bit of a roughing up is the fact that we're not going to have a sort of like a noodle pancake. You want to kind of make them a bit fluffed up. So after about 10 minutes of frying and flipping, your noodles should be done and they should be nice and crispy and crunchy. So of the king prawns, the chicken and the squid, we're going to make a marinade with 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil and 1 tablespoon of light soy sauce. Give it a very good stir and set aside for a minute. So I start by searing the sliced fish roll and then I add the chicken. After that I add the squid and then the king prawns. Make sure you gently stir fry this so you don't break up any of the precious king prawns. When it's about 3/4 of the way done, then take it out of the pan and set aside. We don't want to cook it fully here because otherwise it'll overcook in the finishing stages of this dish. Next we add the veggies. The first things to go in are the garlic and the ginger. This will help release the aromatics into the oil so we can spread it into the rest of the dish. Next we add our pak choy and we're going to sear this and gently wilt it down. We're not going to turn it to mush because we want to have a nice crisp bite on it still. The pak choy has got quite a robust stalk on it so it can take quite a lot of stir frying. Next we add our sugar snap peas or our mange tout and then our 200 milliliters of water. Bring it back to the boil and add a tablespoon of oyster sauce. Give it a stir. Now we add our tablespoon or capful of rice wine, teaspoon of sugar, a good pinch of salt and pepper. At this stage it's a good idea to taste the sauce. A bit more sugar I think, 1 more teaspoon. Give it another good stir and add in all the meat and fish ingredients. Bring it back to a rapid boil. Keep stirring but keep it gentle and then add our corn flour slurry. That's 1 tablespoon of corn flour in some water, which will thicken the sauce really nicely. And there we go guys. Right, plating up, putting all the ingredients and all the sauce onto the noodles. Keep the sauce in the middle of the noodle nest because then the middle of the nest can go soft but the outside of it stays really nice and crispy. You've got to admit guys, that looks amazing. Tell me you don't want to eat that. Get your taste buds ready. Alright my little Chow With Lauers, check this out. This is one of the most amazing dishes you're ever likely to cook. Actually really easy, just quite a few stages to it, but if you follow the video, of course, you're going to be able to do that very easily. Let's try it out. I'm going to try with the noodles. I don't normally eat this with a knife and fork, but for the purposes of politeness, I'm going to do that. Crispy, but in the middle it's still soft. And where the sauce has gone is also going to soften it up. Try some chicken.
Hope you will like some.
Would you like the king prawn? my chief taster. How's that taste, Kobe? Very good. Excellent. Excellent. And the pak choy, which is still, that's really nice. It's sweet. Still got a little bit of bite to it. And the sauce goes with it beautifully. Really, really good. And some squid. Still tender, not overcooked. Really, really cool. This is one of the best dishes I've ever cooked for Chow With Lauers. Guys, I am so pleased with this dish, and I hope you're going to give it a go because it's actually really easy. There's quite a few stages to it, but it's not that hard to do technically, and I think you'll have a lot of fun doing it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've learned something, if you've enjoyed it, then please subscribe, leave a comment, like the video. If you've got any suggestions for me, then please leave them in the comments below, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye bye. Hello, Mr. Prawn. My goal in life was to give myself to Michael's very special crispy noodles.